Welcome back to my channel, Daddy Time in the Kitchen. And today for the family, I am making a creamy and rich Cajun shrimp pasta with sausage. This was an absolutely amazing dish. So I hope that you stay with me and enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get updates on all new videos. Next, I'll go over the ingredients that I'm using for the dish. I have half of an onion that's been diced, 1 thinly sliced red bell pepper, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, some garlic to taste based on your preference. I used about 2 heaping tablespoons. I also have 2 teaspoons of creole seasoning, brown sugar, paprika, and thyme, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, 1 cup of chicken broth, 1 cup of diced tomatoes, a half a pound of smoked sausage cut into thin circles. I actually use Uncle John's sausage, 1 pack of fettuccine noodles, and 1 pound of extra large shrimp that's already been pre-seasoned with some of the creole seasoning. All right, stay with me. Alright, so starting off, I'm just going to use some vegetable oil just to coat the bottom of my pot so that the ingredients don't stick to the bottom. I'm actually using one of my cast iron pots just because I love the way that it holds the heat and it helps provide just a nice sear on any types of meats that I'm using. So first I'm just going to go ahead and get this sausage nicely browned. And again, I like starting with the smoked sausage because of the flavor that it leaves behind for all of the other ingredients. And you can see it's just turning into a very nice color, and the aroma that it's giving off is amazing. So the sausage has browned to where I want it to be. So next I've added a little bit of olive oil, and now I'm going to add the shrimp into the pot and let those blacken. And again, I started with the sausage first because it just leaves behind that amazing flavor with some of the oil that comes from the fat. So I'm going to allow those shrimp to absorb all of those flavors that have been left behind by the smoked sausage. All right, at this point, you can see as I turn the shrimp over that they are starting to blacken, and all of those seasonings from the creole seasoning, all of those spices have really helped create that nice color that I'm looking for. You can see right there, that's about exactly where I want it. The shrimp are not overcooked. They will still have a nice pop to them when you bite into them. Alright, so my shrimp are ready. They are nice and blackened, and they are ready to be taken out so that I don't overcook them. But again, they are to the point where they still have a nice pop to them when you bite in. If you overcook them, they will come out very rubbery, and that's not anything that we want for this dish. So I'm going to remove them, and you can see the flavor that has been left behind from, again, the sausage that I started off with, and just the flavor from the creole seasoning that's been left behind from the shrimp. So now I'm going to add my diced onions. Remember, this is about a half of a large diced onion. So I'm going to let this just simmer and cook until it gets nice and soft. Alright, at this point you can see that the onions are starting to soften up, and just look at the amazing color that they've taken on from the creole seasoning that's been left behind in the pot. So now I'm going to add my thinly sliced bell peppers, and I'm just going to saute those until they get soft as well. Alright, my bell peppers are starting to soften up, and now I'm going to add my garlic and let that saute a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to add my melody of flavors back into the pot. I have my creole seasoning, the brown sugar, the paprika, and the thyme. So I'm just going to let that mix in and marinate a little bit with my onions and the bell peppers that I have in before I start adding the liquids. I'm just letting this saute a little bit with the spices in there before I add the liquids, because I just want to get some of the raw taste out of the spices that I just put into the pot. So that's the reason why I put them in dry before I started adding some of these liquids. So you can see I just added in the crushed tomatoes, and I'm going to give that a little stir and let it marinate with those flavors that are already in there as well. My Worcestershire sauce is coming up next, and again, that was only about 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Next, I'm adding my chicken broth, and that was about 1 cup of chicken broth. My 2 cups of heavy cream. I'm adding the smoked sausage back in as well. And I'm just going to give that a nice mix and let this sit back and simmer for a few minutes. I actually raise my oven up to high so that it can come to a boil, and then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer on about medium high. You can see right now it's simmering nicely. I did take the top of the pot off just so the sauce can thicken up a little. At this point, I've reduced my pot down to about a low, and you can see that it's still simmering. Again, I kept the top off for a little while just so the sauce can thicken. Right now, I'm letting my water boil before I add my fettuccine noodles. And according to the package directions, I just let those cook for about 13 to 14 minutes. Now I'm going to drain the noodles out and add a little bit of olive oil just so I can prevent the noodles from sticking. You can see it's just a slight drizzle. Then I'm going to give the noodles a toss just so the olive oil gets coating on all of the noodles. And then I'm going to plate it and show you the finished product. So at this point, I've turned my stove off, and I'm just letting all of those ingredients rest, and you can just see the amazing color that's in this pot. Right here, I added the noodles back into the pot and just tossed everything together, gave it a nice mix. I added some fresh parsley, and again, I always get the parsley from my garden. We've been growing it for about a month or 2 now, and it's as fresh as you can get. So here's the plated dish. This was, again, I extremely I enjoyed making this dish. Please ensure that you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get updates on all new videos. Please comment as well if you've liked this video, and I welcome any feedback. Daddy time in the kitchen is done. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a blessed day. Take care.